What's
Here
up?
we are. We're live.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night was quite a show.
I'm like afraid to watch it back, honestly.
No, it was good. It's all right.
It was all right.
She thinks she didn't actually do the show. That she didn't do it.
I woke up like in the middle. Well,
Yeah,
I woke up.
You did the show.
I'm sleepy today. I'm not actually
Yeah.
hungover, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
I'm sleepy today because you were snoring and it woke me up at 4 in the
Yeah.
morning and I couldn't go back to sleep because it was really loud. But
No,
I kept like poking him like,
Yeah.
stop snoring.
Yeah. Well, that last hour, you started fading out. You had people in the fucking comment section laughing like, "Oh, Jenny's gone."
I know.
But you did finish it.
I did.
I had
Okay.
to fucking kind of prod you along. I know Jenny real well.
Well, yeah.
She's like Spock. She's pretty concise and she gets to the point. But when she starts to get drunk, she starts going circular. Well, she'll kind of say the same things over and over again. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to, okay, what happened next? Oh, okay. And then she moves on. So you kind of went circular. Not so bad that I don't think that other people noticed it, but I noticed it. You know?
Okay.
It wasn't that bad. It just you started to kind of expound and explain it 2 or 3
And it's
times.
like, it's funny because
I'm like,
I can't.
No, you got to come on. You go keep going, and we were 4 hours into it. All right.
It ended up being a 4
And you had a couple little paragraphs that you wanted to talk about, I think. But I had to just say, okay, well, what happened? What happened at the trial? And and we were able to cover pretty much.
Like they're pretty much all dead now. The end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, the funny thing about it is that I did not. When I woke up, like I felt okay, like amazingly.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember. I didn't remember ending the show. I didn't remember if I had eaten anything.
No, I tried to feed you. You wouldn't.
And then, then earlier today, he brings in a chicken salad sandwich with 1 bite taken out of it.
Yeah,
He's like, I brought this to you last night, and I asked you if you wanted it, and you took 1 bite and said, no, I didn't want it, and then left it on the bedside.
Yeah, you just left it on the bedside.
So he put it in a bag and put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
I did not remember that at all.
I said, you're not hungry? And she goes, I don't want it.
Really?
Yeah.
I should have eaten it probably. But
Yeah.
I felt okay this morning though. Because even though I think that I didn't eat before the show. The last thing I'd eaten was that bowl of beef stew at like 11 or 12. And that's like, I don't think I'd eaten.
Once I was watching you, you know what I mean? That last like 20 minutes or so, I kind of had to fucking keep you moving. Because I know how she is. And I know how Jenny is. She gets to a certain... when she's drunk, she's fun. But if she starts getting real drunk, she starts to become combative.
And very, very sleepy.
Yeah, she gets real sleepy and combative. She thinks you're picking on her. Then it starts to go of like, you're fucking with me. And I'm not fucking. And then it's, you don't love me. And then it's just, and she'll start fucking spiraling out of control. So I was saying, we're going to have to end this show because she's going to turn around and go, you fucking asshole, you don't love me.
Honestly, I probably would have just fallen asleep.
Yeah.
I probably would have
just like, and it's like,
on the computer.
It's just
I was just getting really sleepy.
Yeah, and then when she wakes up, she doesn't remember. But she'll go woe is me on you in those fucking final few minutes of fucking consciousness, and then she fucking sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just amazed that I felt like okay when I woke up. Like I said, I'm just sleepy, but that's because you were snoring and it woke me up at 4 in the morning. And then I woke up and I was like, wait, I don't remember finishing the show. I'm like, is Pookie inside? Where's Pookie? And then I kept like smacking the side of the bed. I'm like, hey, Pookie. I was trying not to wake you up. I was like, hey, Pookie. Yeah. Hey, Pookie. And then like she jumped up on the bed and I was like, oh, there you are. Yeah. She's like, what? What, Mama? I'm right here. Yeah. She's a good girl. She comes when you call most of the time.
So AC went out yesterday from Bee's Nest. People saying it was a good show. A lot of people have hangovers. So yeah, we do the show and fucking the audience is getting sloshed with us.
That's good. That makes me feel a little bit better.
It's Saturday night.
Because I was kind of like having anxiety. Like, what the fuck? Like, did I even finish the show? Did we even talk about the topic? I was like, I felt like we did.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I was like, what were we talking about for 4 hours?
We had to skim over a little bit. It would have taken another hour at the rate you were going at the final fucking 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If I didn't hurry it up, you would have gone for another hour.
Yeah.
It's just you were expounding on it like 3 times. Every little point you'd fucking explain it one way, and then you come back and you explain that another way, and then you come over and explain it this way, and like they got it, Jenny. What's the way? It's just, Because that's what you do. I know that's how you do when you're fucking loaded.
Yeah, I didn't drink like any more than usual, but I think it's just because I hadn't eaten. So I think it like affected me more than. So probably I should have eaten before I went to sleep, but I didn't. I just
and of course, I was we were fucking sidetracking. I was sidetracking. We were both sidetracking the show.
We are.
And then just saying, I wake up with a bomb collar on. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say, I wanted to give a shout out to Sandra, still here to see the duct tape, and also to Jason, who sent us PayPal donations today.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we got shirts on order. They're gonna be here.
Yeah, the people that the two people last night, it was Mark and Victor that wanted shirts. I ordered the blanks today. So the blanks will be here Tuesday, so we'll print them and get them mailed before the end of the week. Yeah,
we'll send them out next week.
Yeah, so that'll be
So you'll have them soon. They don't take long.
So we're going to talk about a movie today.
Yeah, this one was off Shudder.
Yeah, this was Shudder just added this one. This is actually a Dutch/Flemish movie. New movie from 2020. I think it came out in March of this year, and it's called Uncaged.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good movie.
I actually really liked it. It's kind of like a horror comedy, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost 80s style.
Like an Animal Attack type movie.
It's a horror comedy movie, though.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, and kind of like animal disaster type theme. I would say traditional storytelling, 80s style. It's got some CG in it to do the lion.
Yeah, it's about a killer lion.
Yeah.
A man-eating lion.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of twists in it, so we're not going to spoil it.
I won't, but I will give like a brief overview of the plot. Now,
hold on, I want to say something.
What's that?
There is CG in it. The CG is not all that epic, but it doesn't matter because
it's good enough.
The tone of the story makes it good enough, and then there's a lot of practical effects for the gore, so it works out.
I think the CGI for the lion, like when it was CGI shots, because I think they used puppets in some of the shots, and those looked good.
It's a mixture, yeah.
But the CGI that they used was about equivalent to that Thai movie with called The Pool with the alligator, the crocodile, or whatever. So it's like it's not perfect, but
it's good enough.
But it was good enough for what they were doing.
The tone of the movie is not ultra realism, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like I said, it's a horror comedy. It kind of reminded me, like not in subject matter really, but tonally it reminded me of Gremlins kind of.
Yeah.
Like where it was like a comedy, but it was also like super gory and like really violent.
Kind of like a mixture of Gremlins and fucking Jurassic Park in a way. You know, instead of a runaway dinosaurs, it's a runaway fucking lion.
It's a lion.
In the middle of Europe. And fucking weird comedic characters trying to stop the damn lion, catch the lion. And the movie's in Dutch and in English.
Yeah, because what ends up happening, it's set in Amsterdam, and most of the, like, for the first half of the movie, it's pretty much all in Dutch, and then they introduce a British character, and at that end, he speaks English, and everyone speaks English to him, so at that point, it becomes like a mixture of Dutch and English. But yeah, so the basic premise of the story is that your main character is this woman named Lizzie, and she's like a veterinarian. She works at the Amsterdam Zoo. And at the very beginning, there's a lion attack. I mean, saying it's a lion, that's not a spoiler, because there's a lion on the poster, so it's like everybody knows what it is. So this lion attacks like this whole family and like kills this whole family like in a really, really gory, like graphic way. Mm-hmm. And they can tell that it's an animal, so they call her in to kind of like investigate or like help them.
Yeah, the funny thing about the poster of the show is they show a lion on there. It looks like a mutant lion with two different eyes and shit. I thought it was going to be like Prophecy, some kind of fucking mutant lion. I was waiting for that, but it's deceptive. It's just a lion.
Pretty much. I think the only thing that they say about it is that it's bigger than a normal lion and it's a man-eater.
Yeah. And but why was that? I think I might have missed that point.
I'm not really sure if they like specified where the lion came. I think the only thing that they said about where the lion came from was that it was like when the hunter came and he was talking about Namibia or whatever, wherever he had been. and he said that this was maybe one of those lions, and he's like, oh, he's a long way from home or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not genetically engineered or anything.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't catch that either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like a regular, just a big one.
Yeah, you could tell I wasn't paying real super close attention to the movie. I was enjoying it. And a lot of times when I enjoy a movie, I don't really pay close attention to it.
It's just a fun...
It's just a fun movie. You know?
Animal attack
and
movie.
There's a lot of subtitles, and sometimes I was looking away and didn't quite catch what they had said.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter. It's actually an action movie.
Pretty much.
Basically. Action comedy / horror. Bunch of fucking good... It had good practical gore effects.
Yeah, I really liked, the gore was, really, really
People's
really
heads
fun.
getting bit off and all kinds of stuff. Car wrecks and shit. Fucking, what else? The guys running around with
the
guns.
Bus. The lion on the bus.
Yeah, lion on a bus.
That was great.
Fucking traps for the lion. They're like those big fucking claw traps, fucking with the teeth on them and shit. For guys falling them and getting bitten in half by the damn traps. It's just, it's all right. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was super fun.
Yeah.
Just kind of like an old-fashioned, horror comedy, real gory.
Yeah.
Kind of funny characters, like caricature type characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, I like that they didn't shy away from little kids getting killed by the lion and nothing like that. You know?
Yeah, there's some twists and some surprises to the story too. You know what I mean about the lion, but we're not gonna spoil it.
Yeah. And I'm like I said, so Lizzie's the main character. She's got kind of an on again, off again boyfriend named Dave, and he's like a media guy. I guess he's like a news cameraman or something like that.
Yeah, he's kind of soyed out. He's a soy boy.
And he's kind of annoying. Yeah. Sort of. And he also is a horn dog and cheats on her all the time with that was one of the funny scenes where. Yeah. Taking pictures of telling people he's a porn director or something.
Yeah, he was doing porn direction on the side.
And then
and the pimps were fucking trying to whip his ass because he was fucking doing porn scenes with the pimps' girlfriends and shit, and then not publishing the porn, just keeping it or something. that was part.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like a throwaway joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what ends up happening is that it's kind of parodying, I guess, how. It had a very Jaws feel to it too, where it's the authorities didn't want to tell anybody that there was a lion running around because they thought no one would believe them. And then when they did tell the media didn't believe them and everyone just laughed at them and thought it was stupid. But then as the attack started to pile up, obviously they had to take it more seriously then.
Yeah.
And then they bring in a hunter who's the chief of police's nephew or brother or something like that, and he's fucking Jack Black or some shit.
Yeah, that element of the story kind of reminded me of a 70s disaster
movie. Yeah, it had
which
shades of that.
I liked that part of the story too, and then it goes on and it becomes kind of like an action horror.
Yeah,
it's good with comedy in it. It's good.
And then they bring in this other hunter who's British and who also happens to be the ex-boyfriend of the main character, Lizzie. So there's all this tension between the new boyfriend and the old boyfriend, and that guy, that character was kind of the best character, the British guy that comes in, and I'm not gonna spoil his character either because it's pretty funny. But yeah, this is a really good. I don't even know how low budget it was or anything like that, but it just seemed like a really good, fun, horror comedy. Lots of funny shit in it. Lots and lots of gore. The CGI is not perfect, but it was good enough. It was better than the tiger on The Walking Dead, I'll say that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's better than that. Poor Walking Dead, boy. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen the new season of that.
I haven't watched it.
We might have missed 2 seasons of that, as far as I know.
No, I think we just missed 1 season. But like I said, I'll have to go back. I was gonna wait until Netflix had it and then just watch the whole thing at once. So, because I might have to watch the last season too, because I kind of forgot what happened and I missed some episodes.
Yeah, that series was really starting to get kind of boring.
I don't know. I was talking to Michael from A Starry Night, and because when this last season was on, and he said that it had gotten a whole lot better, with the Whisperers and stuff.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I haven't seen it.
It lost its hard edge,
and I haven't, and I hadn't really been keeping up with what was going on with it or anything.
What's up, Pooks?
Hey, Pookie.
She's gonna jump up on top of the table.
She's gonna jump up on.
She thought about it, and then she thought, like, nah, I'll do it later.
Maybe I'll do it. Did she like stick her butt in the camera last night or anything?
I don't think so.
I can't remember if she did or not. I just couldn't remember if she was. Oh.
She's coming.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
No,
nope. Never
mind.
She's
gonna try to get it from another angle. She's coming. She's gonna jump up from this angle.
Okay, please
what you
don't.
Gonna do, Pook? You think you can make it? She made it. Yeah, that was a long jump.
There she is.
Yeah.
There she is.
Running behind her. She's looking in all the coffee cups.
Yeah.
Seeing if there's something to eat.
Yeah, is that something for Pokey? No, that's not for Pokey. She doesn't like.
Is there anything else you want to talk about this movie?
I don't think so. So Shudder added another new one too, which we will probably review. I'll probably watch it tonight. We can maybe review that one tomorrow. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's found footage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Shudder's been adding some new shit, and that's pretty cool. And this is a real good one, you know.
It's worth watching.
It's definitely worth watching, like I said.
Yeah, there's people in the comments section saying that they have Shudder, that they like the service, you know, and thanking us for, I guess, recommending it. But,
yeah, somebody just contacted me on Facebook today, Robert, I think, and he said that he's in Australia and they just got Shudder. Hey, that's Pookie's little tail.
Yeah, she's getting ready to jump back in. You can jump. You can make it.
You can jump. It's not far.
Come here. Oh,
whee!
She didn't want me to help her.
Oh, she's like, no, Daddy, I can do it.
So Australia just got it.
They just got it.
What'd
yeah.
he say?
And he said he really liked it. Like,
okay.
He's like, there's a really good selection, and it's like not expensive and stuff.
No, it's cheap. It's cheap, and it's got all the fucking good horror movies on it.
Yeah,
the old ones.
and I mean, like I said, I don't know, because I know that there's rights differences, so I don't know if because I know the UK Shudder has different shit than
at least it did
the
for
American
a while.
one. It did for a while, but I've heard that the UK one is actually getting better, like with like a wider selection and stuff. And like I said, if you have like a VPN, you can probably watch the American Shudder too.
Yeah, you're right.
I would think.
American Shudder has almost everything. It seemed like
they have. I mean, like I said, between Shudder, Tubi, and Netflix, you can watch pretty much whatever horror movie you want. And every now and then, sometimes we have to like rent one off of YouTube or off the Xbox or whatever. But I don't, old or new, I don't usually have a lot of problem finding anything between those three services, which is why I don't ever, get any other ones.
Another good thing about Shudder is, and we're not plugging Shudder because they pay us. That's not a sponsor. I wish they were a sponsor.
I see some channels that they do sponsor. I think you have to be like pretty big.
We're probably not big enough. But I wish. But they have a couple of original series that are really good.
Yeah.
We saw them. Which one was the original?
Well, they had the Creep Show.
The Creep Show one. That's the one I was thinking of.
They have the Joe Bob Briggs drive-in theater. That's a good one.
Yeah.
They also show this isn't their series, but it's oh shit, man, what the fuck is it? It's the one where each season is like different creepypasta. I actually think that they started that on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah. But they have all the seasons on Shudder. They have some good documentaries on there too.
They have all the Italian giallos.
They have a bunch of giallo movies. At least. Yeah, there's a bunch of them on.
All the Phantasms, I think, are all there.
All of them except two.
Two. Okay.
I think are on there at the moment.
Yeah.
It's got some Dario Argento on there.
Probably most of the Friday the 13th, maybe all of them.
I don't know if those are still on there. They were just on there for like for a limited time. Because remember that's when we reviewed. They added like all like the first 8 of them or something. Yeah. But yeah, they added a bunch of more like old slashers the other day. They added like Maniac, Sleepaway Camp, Madman. There was like a whole bunch of the old like slasher movies. They added all of those as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, they added Patrick, which is why we reviewed it the other day. They also added. I don't know if maybe one of these days we'll review this one too, but they also added Beyond the Door, which is like an Italian exorcist ripoff. It's an Italian exorcist ripoff.
Oh, we gotta see that.
Yeah, they added that the other day too.
I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, my babysitter Kimmy took me to see. I think it was to the matinee. I think it was Amityville Horror. Might have been Amityville Horror, and the trailer for that Beyond the Door was fucking played before the Amityville Horror, I believe. Yeah. It might have been another horror movie, because she took me to see so many of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got me into it. It was the 70s. You could get a kid into an R-rated movie. They didn't give a shit. All right?
As long as you were with somebody that looked old enough.
Yeah, and Kimmy wasn't. She was like a 14-year-old Princess Leia, 13 years old. She wasn't old enough probably to be in an R-rated movie. That fucking trailer from beyond the door scared the shit out of me as a little kid. The woman fucking floating through the sky and all the fucking furniture fucking flying around and green and blue lights inside the house and fucking shit shining through the fucking shades. And beyond the door. And I remember that shit to this day.
Yeah. Shudder just
I got to see that again.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw it, but I know what I mean. I saw just the trailer.
The trailer and
just
it made
the trailer,
an impression.
yeah. Scared the shit out of me. I
don't remember if I've ever seen it or not.
As soon as you said that, the trailer fucking came back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I loved Kimmy, man. I had a huge crush on her. I showed a picture of her every one time we show. She was 13 or 14. She looked just like Princess Leia.
And how old were you at that time?
Maybe about 5.
Oh, okay.
6.
Aww.
Maybe 7. Something. It's hard to say.
So you were in love with
What year was that?
When Amityville Horror came out? 1979.
Okay, so it wasn't Amityville Horror. I was a lot younger. But when did Beyond the Door come out?
Ooh. I don't know.
I saw the trailer
74? 75?
Okay, so I must have been about... I was 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes more sense. So, but I thought somebody took me to see Amityville Horror. It must not have been her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 1979.
Yeah,
that Amityville Horror came out.
Yeah, and I'd already moved away from the block in which I lived. That Kimmy lived. We lived on the same block, so I'd already moved away by 79.
1974, Victor says.
What? Beyond the Door?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were right the first time.
I was 5. She's probably about 13.
I can't believe I said 1974, 1975. I pulled that out of my butt. I wasn't even
That's
sure.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you didn't know. They just added that like the other day. I think they added at the same time that they added Patrick. Those
I bet
were like 2 that they added.
I bet you if I were to see that trailer again, it's probably not scary at all.
It's probably not.
Probably fucking silly as shit.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm always kind of interested in shit that I found really scary when I was little, and then like you see it later, and you're just like, "What the fuck?
That's it?
What was I thinking?"
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but do you know what used to scare the shit out of me when I was a little bitty kid? For some reason, was the song Monster Mash?
Yeah.
The cauldron bubbling sound effect at the beginning? Yeah. That used to scare the fucking crap out of me, and I don't know why. Like, every time... I liked the song.
Yeah.
But I couldn't listen to that noise. Fun. Like, I had to, like, run out of the fucking room, whatever, and then I would come back in, like, after that part was done. I don't know why.
I think I've told this story before on the show. I don't know or not. Hold on, let me see what everybody's saying. See if there's any questions or anything. Okay, when I was growing up in California, during that same era that I'm talking about, and I think it was around 76 or 77. 76, because it was before Star Wars. And I remember the bicentennial happening around that time. In California, on channel 22, it's called VHF 22 or UHF 22? UHF 22.
UHF.
They had a VHF fucking knob and the UHF. The UHF, that was all the fucking big numbers. And all the little static. Kids,
you guys remember that movie?
Kids don't even know what static is. We had to pick up fucking TV on down fucking rabbit ears and shit. Broadcast television. And on channel 22 in California at that time was the Japanese channel. Because the largest fucking community of fucking Japanese expats outside of Japan was in California at that time.
Yeah.
They were descendants of wine makers and shit. All that fucking Giulio Gallo fucking Spanish and Italian sounding fucking wine and shit. It's all Japanese making that in California. Anyway, they had a series on there that they played after school when I would come home, and it's around the time I was watching Get a Robo and Grindizer. They had those on. After all that, they had a live action show. One of them was Go Ranger. That was later, though. It was the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
That was around 77, 78, around that time, I think. But they had another one, though, that scared the shit out of me. And it was a live action series about this dude in feudal Japan. But I didn't know what feudal Japan was. I had no idea what it was I was watching. It was just people with knives and swords with fucking funny hats. In these funny-looking paper houses and shit with fire, lanterns and shit. I had no idea they were showing me the past in Japan. I knew it was Japan, but I thought that was Japan now. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Celtic Angel.
Thank you very much, bro. So, this guy in feudal Japan would jump into a well and then come flying up out of the well with a white demonic face and a huge white fucking hair and a horn sticking out of his head with all these fucking weapons and spears, and then a horse would run out of the fucking forest and run to him, and the horse fucking had a unicorn horn and fucking fangs, and he would jump on it, and he was fighting flying umbrellas.
Oh,
that was
like the yokai monsters.
They were yokai monsters, and I had no idea what I was fucking watching. I was totally fucking
like,
swimming.
Somebody dosed me? What the fuck is this?
And it was scaring the shit out of me. There was a scene where there were people planting stuff out in a field, and out of the sky came flying fucking umbrellas, and the umbrellas had mouths on them and eyes, and they were shooting poison darts out of their fucking mouths. They killed all those people, and then they flew away. And the dude saw that, and he jumped into the fucking well and came out a demon. And no one, looking back on it now, what it was is he came out like a kabuki samurai warrior. Is what he came out like.
That's what I pictured.
And he had a demon horse that fucking would come, and he would jump on it like the Lone Ranger, and he went fucking running off over these flying umbrellas. And a bunch of weird shit happened over time of this series. And every time a new episode of this series would come out, something more terrifying would be shown. One of them was a two-legged monster with a whole bunch of fucking tentacles coming out of the top of it, and the tentacles were made out of hair. And where the titties would be were eyes, and the bottom legs, and it was running around, and it was fucking snatching people, and on its belly it had a huge mouth full of teeth, and it was fucking eating people. And it was a woman in a costume, but when you're a kid, you're like, fuck, it was just terrifying. Where her boobs was, she had these big old eyes, and then where her belly was, this huge fucking mouth. And her hand was up inside this thing with all this fake hair. It was like tentacles grabbing dudes. It was fucking shoving them in her belly. And the way it was filmed, you know what I mean? When you're like 7, you're like buying into it. You're like, oh, fuck. And for the life of me, I can't find what that series is. It was something Japanese.
Yeah. Oh, Japan.
I've looked for it.
You guys are so weird.
Yeah. Some kind of Japanese medieval, some kind of Japanese feudal era.
Was it a kids show, or was it just like a regular show?
No, it was
because I was like, man, that's pretty hardcore.
It was a kids show. Looking back on it, it was like a more serious version of the Power Rangers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was a live action one, right? But it probably was like Power Rangers, because people got killed in the Power Rangers too. Did
they? I never watched the Power Rangers. That was a little...
I think they did. Well, the Go Rangers, I think they did. The people got blown up with bombs and shit.
Yeah.
And people went flying. It was something like that. It had a horror element to it. A lot of the shit that was happening at night. It was kind of like Yokai Wars.
Yeah.
That movie. I thought for a while that might have been it, but that wasn't it. This was a series. And the dude that would jump out, he was all fucking white with fucking this red makeup, red eyes painted around. Like, the only thing I could fucking equate it to at the time is that he came out like Gene Simmons from Kiss. That's what he looked like. But he had a red face instead of all that black.
Right.
You know, it was like a red fucking makeup on white. Red on white.
Gene Simmons is jumping out of the well.
With a huge white wig that stood about 2 feet tall on top and about 3 feet either direction of his head. And I remember it almost touching the ground. That's how big that fucking wig was. Like a kabuki actor.
Right.
And he was wearing fucking samurai outfit, and he had fucking a thing called a big spear with a curved blade on it. I think it's called a Okinawa. Yeah, I can't remember what that shit's called. And then fucking swords and a fucking demon horse. Does this ring a bell with anybody in the damn comment sections? Do you have any idea what that was?
Because that sounds pretty cool. We need to find
that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find it.
We need to find that. I can see how seeing that as a kid would probably scar you for life, though. I mean,
I can remember it to this day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's some scary shit.
Yeah.
It's just funny how, I don't know, how scary and weird shit is when you're a kid and then you see it later.
Well, I didn't have any kind of cultural context.
Right, because to you it was just these kind of random, what the hell is even going on with the umbrellas and whatnot.
Yeah, flying umbrellas, fucking titty monsters with belly teeth and shit, and fucking the blades and no electricity. And I didn't know I was being shown something from the past, a story that was supposed to come from the past. I thought it was just a faraway place where people had problems with umbrellas killing people. You know what I mean? Okay.
Man, where is this?
I was just watching something. It was, for me at that time, that's why, all these little Japanese robots that I have back here, experiencing that stuff from an American perspective where you don't really speak the language. You're just watching the programs, and when you're a kid, it's so alien, it makes a big impression on you.
Yeah.
And that was on par with like the robots. That was on par with like superheroes. I could easily understand what was going on there. I loved all the fucking the robots and the UFOs and the aliens and the explosions. But no, that yokai fucking monster fucking series fucked me up. I didn't have a cultural context for it.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds pretty scary.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I was growing up, on cable, they used to show this animated Jack and the Beanstalk all the time. And I really liked it, but it really like creeped me out because it was kind of like the regular Jack and the Beanstalk story, but then there was like a little princess with like the big eyes, and then there was the giant named Tulip, and the giant was like kind of controlled by this little witch named Madame Hecuba, who was like his mom.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
And
I already told you this, but my ex-wife was way into that fucking cartoon.
And I saw it like a bunch of times when I was a kid, and then like and it made a big impression. And then I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, did that really happen, or was it just like a fever dream or something? Because it was like some really weird like psychedelic shit in there. So I looked it up later and I found it, and it turns out, which I didn't know at the time, it turns out that it was Japanese.
Yeah.
And it was dubbed into English. And that didn't occur to me like when I was a kid watching it.
Right.
I didn't know that it was originally Japanese. I didn't know like, what the whole like fucking thing was. So it's like, oh well, that actually kind of explains a lot, like why they added like these strange elements to it. But I can't remember what the Japanese title of it is. It's I looked it up one time, but I can't remember
when
what
you
it
said
is.
Madame Hecuba and the fucking Jack and the Beanstalk element. I remember my ex-wife had that on VHS tape.
Yeah,
and
I just saw it on
she
cable
saw it
all
as
the
a
time.
kid, and it disturbed her, and she kept it.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's what she said. She played some of it for me, and it was kind of weird.
It's weird.
But I was 25 at the time that she showed it to me.
Yeah.
And really what I remember, just off the top of my head, what was weird about it, was the tone of the musical score behind what was happening. A lot of the shit didn't really match up, and there was some stuff, robotic shit had happened with some of the characters, and it was kind of odd.
Madame Hecuba, it turns out at the end when the giant steps on her, spoiler alert, that she's
Springs,
a robot.
Yeah, Springs and robots, and didn't she walk
and
up
they don't explain it.
Right.
Like why she's a robot. She just is.
It's because the Japanese liked certain stories that were Western, but they reboot them with Japanese elements that fucking don't really translate too well to American culture because their influences are from another set of fucking literature, another set of cartoons that were popular at the time that audience had seen. So that audience was used to certain things happening. Like, there was a fucking Super Sentai robot, you know what I mean? That was, what was that fucker's name? It was a cool looking robot. It was kind of like Power Rangers. And it was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, in Japan, Spider-Man had a giant robot that he got into. Kind of like the old series Johnny Sacco and Giant Robot and everything. Yeah. In Japan, you couldn't sell the concept of a Marvel superhero to a Japanese kid. They were like, okay.
They don't even have a robot.
He doesn't have a robot, though.
What the fuck?
Right.
How super can he be?
Yeah, that's not super. They're like, okay, he can climb on walls, he can shoot webs, he's got spider DNA. Where's his robot? Superheroes always have a gigantic fucking robot. It goes all the way back to, Gojira, or Godzilla is known as here, It's something that's really big. So a superhero just doesn't play out well. And I don't remember the name of what Japanese Spider-Man's robot was, but really the robot was the star of Japanese Spider-Man's series, not Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he's just a dude.
Yeah, he was kind of like he just was piloting it. He could do stuff, and he did do stuff like Spider-Man, but only for a few seconds. Then he would jump in that big robot, and he would fight another bad guy who had a big robot. Yeah.
Because if the bad guy has a big robot, then everybody has to have a big robot. That's just basically how it works.
And we inherited that same shit from fucking Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They do the same thing. They fight in person for a few minutes, and then they jump into damn planes, and then the planes combine into a fucking giant robot. Then they have to fight it because the bad guy got really big.
Yeah.
And somehow the bad guy always gets real big because some witch shows up and fucking hits him with a fucking magic, and he gets big.
Yeah.
It's hard getting big. What are you gonna do?
It's like Big Man Japan.
Big Man Japan. They get big.
If you guys, we did a review of that movie. It's so good. It's so good. It's almost kind of like, I don't want to say it's like a parody of it, but it kind of is. It's like a parody of like this kind of kaiju type of movies where, but he gets really big, like to fight all these different monsters, like these wacky big giant monsters. That.
Oh, I remember the name of Japanese Spider-Man's robot. His robot was named Leopoldion.
That's awesome.
Leopoldion. That's what his name was.
That's so random.
And Leopoldion was really the star of Japanese Spider-Man, not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just some dude.
He was a dude like something off of Power Rangers that just jumped around in a unitard. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it was. So imagine you're American, right? And you got this new series of Spider-Man you're going to watch. It's all been dubbed into English. It looks like fucking Marvel Spider-Man. It's got fucking what's his name on the back of the dude of fucking Stan Lee and shit. Look, this is fucking Spider-Man. And then when you see it, it's giant robots and it's the fucking Power Rangers. It just has to happen. It just has Spider-Man in it.
Somebody has a Spider-Man outfit.
Yeah. So you're gonna be fucked up. Well, that's the way. That's just how Japan's gonna sell you Jack and the Beanstalk too. They're gonna do that same shit.
Well, you know how there's a whole industry in Turkey of ripping off American superhero movies, and actually any movie that's like pretty, because Brandon Tenold, he's a Canadian guy that has like a really good channel where he reviews like crappy movies and sometimes good ones, but he's done like a whole series of Turkish knockoff movies. Like there's a Turkish Batman and Robin, there's a Turkish Star Wars, there's a Turkish everything, and they are so
terrible,
funny.
Yeah, they're funny,
so funny.
They actually make modern versions of that in Turkey. Those ripoffs that are made to be funny on purpose.
Yeah,
that homage.
I think the old
shit.
ones weren't supposed to be funny, but they just were.
The old ones were just supposed to be cash-ins on the name. Somebody said that Witchy Poo from HR Puff and stuff used to freak him out. I remember
that's
HR
pretty.
Puff.
That's kind of scary. That was like a fucking acid trip of a show.
It was. That was HR Puff and stuff.
Lidsville.
And fucking Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
Yeah.
All of those old fucking Shazam too. Fucking. Actually, the best one for me actually was Land of the Lost. You could watch it on YouTube.
Man, I loved Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost would move
so much.
I just didn't realize how fast Land of the Lost progressed forward. Like, and I'm like, oh, I remember this story. Oh, I remember this story. I'm like, dude, I'm three episodes into this shit.
They're so short.
They're
like 15 minutes long.
Like, that shit already happened 3 episodes into the shit. But once you take the commercials out, they're only 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I think they're like 15, 18 minutes.
But
the sleeve stacks were my favorite, man. Yeah. And I love that fucking pylon shit with all the like colored buttons and the thing. I loved that.
HR Puff and stuff and the fucking monkeys were made under the influence of fucking, not the monkeys. What was that other one? It was kind of like the monkeys. HR Puff and stuff. It might have been the monkeys. They were made under the influence of fucking LSD.
Clearly.
You gotta be fucking tripping.
Clearly.
To fucking, I think I'm thinking of the monkeys.
Well, the monkeys, they did that movie.
They were in a car.
Head.
They did some shit. Yeah.
That was like kind of a drug movie. That wasn't for kids though.
Yeah, Monkeys wasn't so much for kids. There's another one that's kind of like the Monkeys that I'm thinking of that was.
Wait, are you talking about a band or a show?
It was a show.
It was a show. Was it?
It was a show, but for some reason I'm associating it with like kind of like the Monkeys.
Was it? It was Banana Splits.
Banana Splits. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Banana Splits. For some reason I got crossed. It was HR Puff and stuff, and Banana Splits were fucking. They were done. They were engineered. That whole thing was designed on fucking heavy LSD. Let's make a kids program. Yeah, okay. Here, let's drop them from here. And they drop and they wait that 45 minutes for the shit to kick in. And they go, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a big dragon. Yeah. And then we're gonna have some mushrooms. Yeah. There's like, mushrooms all over that shit.
Yeah, man.
And then there's gonna be a bunch of kids and they're playing and monsters. Everything's friendly. Yeah, Baby Sass is gonna be there. Sasquatch. Yeah. That's how that shit fucking. Remember, if you guys don't know who Baby Sass is.
I liked Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Yeah.
A while back in the 90s, there was actually an album that came out that was called Saturday Morning, and it had like all these 90s indie bands like covering like all of those. What? Can I talk, or are you just gonna like? Okay,
no, I was just go ahead. No, I'm just thinking about something about Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
What about it?
The gayest man to have ever lived, Rip Torn. Remember that?
Yeah.
On Sigmund and Sea Monster. That motherfucker had me fucking just entertained every time he would show. Wow! He'd be throwing glitter and shit. He dressed up like the Sea King.
Yeah.
Wasn't that his fucking...
I think it was, yeah.
He was kind of like the Uncle Arthur of fucking the show. He would just appear out of nowhere and fucking start solving shit. But I was a little kid when I saw it.
Yeah.
And it just...
That's not Rip Torn is a different guy. That guy is Rip Taylor.
Rip Taylor. That's right. Rip Taylor.
Rip Torn is another guy.
Rip Taylor. That's what his name was.
Yeah. He had the glitter.
Yeah, glitter and a big old fucking mustache. That's what happened. And he had the fucking big old fucking hairdo look like Maud. Yeah. That old lady damn haircut. There should have been curlers in it or something.
That'd have been funny.
Yeah, fucking, you know what I mean? That was a great show, man.
Wasn't he on Hollywood Squares a lot?
Yeah,
I feel like he was on Hollywood Squares a lot.
Yeah.
Him and Phyllis Diller and...
That's right. He was like a copy of Phyllis Diller.
He was like the male Phyllis Diller.
Yeah, I think he was fucking ripping Phyllis Diller off. That was a good time, man. It was a good time.
It's so weird how, like, what weird celebrities we had back then.
Yeah.
Like Ciarra and all that kind of
fucking,
stuff.
Yeah. It's so funny because, like, kids of today, they're all fucking worried. They didn't think there was any, what they call today, they would call it the LGBT fucking representation. Oh, you're full of shit, man. 70s
well, they just
TV.
didn't call it that.
They didn't call it that. 70s TV was just gay as shit, man. Everybody was gay on that fucking... And they were some of the greatest fucking... They were the greatest entertainers of all times. You know, fucking... Liberace.
Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde. Fuck, man. Paul Lynde. If you were going to go up against that dude, man, he would fuck you up. He would say some shit. He was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Just go back and watch a Hollywood Squares with fucking Paul Lynde on it. He would have you rolling. And he was loaded through the whole fucking show.
I feel like most of them were.
Yeah, loaded. You could see them. They would turn around like do this because they'd be filling up their drinks and shit.
Like our show.
And it's just like our show. We talked about it before. They'd be filling up their drinks and then they'd get back to doing the Hollywood Squares because they'd be in there all day and making each little fucking episodes. And sometimes they'd do like 7 episodes, 8 episodes a day. And by the 8th episodes, they were just fucked up. And we had another one and fucking had characters like that. It was a fucking game show called The Liars Club. You can see that shit on YouTube, The Liars Club. Some of those that bitch was fucking great. They'd have these fucking 6 liars or 7 liars up there. They were fucking comedians and actors, and they were always changing them around, and they'd give them an object that you really couldn't identify, and the dude would take the object and he goes, "You see what this is? This is a birth control test." You know what I mean? You put a frog inside this, and then the woman sits on the table, and you put that up there like that, and if the frog dies, she's pregnant. And he passes it down to the next one, and the other one tells a lie about it, and only one of them's telling the truth.
I remember that.
Yeah. And you have to, the contestants have to bet on who's telling the truth or who's lying. On who's telling the truth, and that's how you won the. Some of you guys might that, and they would be fucking blasted. They'd have Buddy Hackett on there.
Yeah.
And on some of those episodes, Buddy Hackett could barely talk, but he was still just funny as shit. The drunker Buddy Hackett got, the funnier he was. He was fucking great because they couldn't censor his ass. They couldn't control him.
Yeah.
He would say shit that was just fucking off the wall. They'd bleep it out. I think they bleeped it out retroactively because I think some of that shit was live.
It's on a delay. That's what they do with live TV for exactly that reason.
Yeah, they just couldn't control him, you know, once he got drunk.
It's a few seconds delay. So if somebody swears or somebody says something fucked up,
bleep. Some of that shit was bleeped, and then you hear the audience just roaring with laughter.
For some reason, I have fond memories of Joker's Wild. You guys remember that?
Yeah,
game
it was
show?
a good one too.
I liked that show. I think there was something I really liked about like the big lever and like the noise that it made. I was really into that. I don't know why.
Yeah, somebody somebody threw out Paul Lynde before we mentioned it. Yeah, that dude was fucking great.
Am I remembering it wrong? But didn't he voice Templeton the Rat in the Charlotte's Web adaptation, the animated one? Like, I feel like that was him. Now I have to go back and check.
I don't know.
That was a good cartoon. I saw that like a million times.
Yeah, he died of AIDS, didn't he?
Did he? He might have.
He died under some kind of circumstance. Either that or it was cancer. It was something like he died before his time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some bad shit happened to Paul Paul brought some young dude to his place, and fucking they were loaded on something, and when he came back in to see the guy was out on the ledge, drinking. He says, you better come back in the ledge of his apartment. The ledge was about 3 feet wide. You could get out on it.
Yeah.
And the dude fell off the fucking ledge to his fucking death. It was
my God.
It was like fucking 11 stories or something.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and he wasn't charged or anything. It was an accident. Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
They were drunk. Dude got out on the ledge.
Because it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
That's
and
not a good
evidently
idea.
that guy's death, he didn't never really kind of recover from it.
Well, you can't blame him.
He kind of blamed him.
That's pretty horrible.
I think he felt bad. I think he kind of blamed himself for that dude falling off. It was a young guy, in his 20s. He was a fucking player at the gay clubs, you know what I mean? He was real famous, and he didn't really have as much money as people thought that he did. He spent a lot of money too, but he was real well known in the LA scene, and he was popular with the young guys, and that was one guy he would regularly hook up with, and evidently he did have some drug problems.
Yeah, that's what Victor said. Google said he died of massive heart attack due to substance abuse.
Who, Paul?
Paul Landia.
Yeah. That was a fucking rough time, Fucking, there was a lot of drugs in LA at that time, and that was the place where you wanted to be. If you were gay, you wanted to be there. Yeah. And the dudes fucking ran that shit into the ground.
Yeah. I feel like the 70s, yeah. Everybody was just like doing everything to excess.
It was excess, yeah.
And then it just kind of caught up with everybody. Yeah. See the movie Boogie Nights.
Yeah, the Village People was happening in 3D back in those days.
Well, I mean, everyone was like coked up. Yeah. Everyone was like just sleeping with everybody.
Huge porn scene. Yeah. Fucking.
Because nobody was worried about it. Nobody knew about AIDS. Nobody knew about. Nope. Everybody was just like partying like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, it was fucking. Yeah. California was fucking Babylon. Yeah. And when I was a little kid, you'd go to the fucking. I told this before in the story, in other parts of the show. My Aunt Lois fucking take us up to the fucking and Red, they take us up to the fucking Sequoia or Redwood Forest, and I'd be walking around fucking 11, 12 years old or whatever, and a group of fucking 16-year-old girls would fucking just walk around the corner of the fucking, walk right by you on a path to the fucking lake, just butt-ass naked. Just nudism,
Yeah.
They'd lay out there fucking, and these are underage girls, fucking adults around and everything. They'd lay out there, fucking smoking weed. And then the Rangers would come and play fucking John Denver fucking music on the fucking guitar. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado, and all that kind of shit. And they'd roll in joints and give it out. It was just another time, man. It was another fucking world. It was just the safety of being up there. It was a real safe scene at that time.
Yeah.
I heard it's changed, but that's the way it was.
Until everything went to hell.
Well, I heard that fucking drug cartels are up there in those mountains growing fucking drugs. So it got more dangerous.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I heard. I heard that you can't get away with the shit you used to be able to get away with in the 70s.
And
the culture's changed too.
Well, and plus in the 70s you had all these serial killers running around, particularly in California.
They didn't know though.
Yeah.
It took them a lot. It took what people. I remember hearing about that shit when I was a kid, and it took decades for that to sink in to the American mind that was something that could happen to you.
Yeah.
Because during that same time that I'm telling you all this, it was in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, very early 80s. 14 and 15-year-old girls would fucking hitchhike and jump right into a car with a stranger and not think anything about it.
Well, yeah, it wasn't weird.
They wouldn't think anything about it.
People did it all the time.
Yep.
And it's like, I think that it didn't really occur to people until maybe the late 70s or early 80s. It's like, oh, hey, maybe we're getting in a car with a weirdo and he's going to murder us, because that does happen.
And looking back at it, there was no real, in California at that era, there was no real concept of fucking underage. There just wasn't. You were either a child or an adult. There really wasn't any kind of a teenage defense years, which is almost kind of like something I'd see in Brazil too,
Yeah.
Because looking back on it, a lot of those 15, 16-year-old girls were running with dudes that were in their 20s and 30s. It didn't seem unusual at the time.
Yeah.
Though. It was just kind of like the common culture. I think even, there are pictures of David Bowie and all these guys running with these club girls. And you look at them, they all look the same, but one of the most famous one, I think it was 14.
Yeah.
But you look at her and she just looks like somebody in her 20s.
Yeah.
Just another era.
You could get away with a lot back.
Yeah, another era. They didn't think. They didn't have the same opinions. It was like that in Brazil too.
Yeah.
There was no real thing like a teenager. You know, especially out in the favela.
Yeah, like once you were old enough.
Once you were old enough to work, you were old enough to do anything. You know.
Yeah.
I was going to fucking clubs and bars at 15. Because you could afford it, so they'd let you in. You know.
Yeah.
And there were other ones in there. Didn't matter. And girls from the favela, 15, 16 years old, fucking as streetwalkers, prostitutes and stuff. You know, they just and prostitution was illegal, but it just wasn't enforced. So
yeah,
there's no way they could control it. It was a lawless state. You know, it was a lawless country.
Yeah,
probably still that way.
Probably.
Yeah. They had laws, but there was just no way to enforce them. No will to enforce any laws.
Yeah, there's like...
They're like, who gives a shit?
Right.
Totally demoralized country in that way.
Yeah. Mango Badger says Jimmy Page was involved with the girl that you just mentioned.
Yeah, the girl that I just mentioned. Right. What was her name again?
I can't remember what her name was. I think we mentioned her when we did the show about that house,
she
was
house. Like one of the most famous club girls from Studio 54. Like everybody knew her. Everybody was dating her off and on. She dated celebrities and stuff, and I think she was 15. 14, 15, 16 when she hit that scene. But she didn't look that. She didn't look like 14, 15, 16. She looked like she was like 20.
Yeah. You
know, and the age evidently wasn't an issue.
Well, I guess if you looked old enough.
Yeah, they just, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's weird. Different time. Nowadays, they'd lock your ass up for that shit.
Yeah, they would.
They're talking about hitchhiking and
yeah. Yeah, it just seemed like it wasn't weird. I don't know, like people didn't really seem to think it was all that dangerous. And like I said, most of the time it wasn't, because millions of people hitchhiked and like, yes, people got killed by serial killers and stuff, but that was still fairly rare, even though the 70s was kind of like 70s and 80s were kind of like the heyday. But I don't know if people just didn't really think about it.
Yeah, Lori Maddox was her name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if people didn't think about it or it didn't occur to them that it was dangerous or, Yeah. Because I would never fucking dream of doing that shit. Even when I was a kid, I wouldn't have done that. All right, so we've been going on for almost an hour.
Yeah, it's time to shut it down. All right, well, thanks for joining us. And, go ahead and watch that movie.
Yeah, we're going to, like I said, there's another new one on Shudder, too, so I'll probably watch that tonight. And we might watch Beyond the Door, too, if you want.
Yeah, we'll get back to you guys.
And then we'll probably stream again tomorrow, same time, same channel, probably 3 o'clock.
Yep.
So we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.